Good morning, everyone. So I am trying to multitask, finish my makeup and hair, and shoot this video to try and make up for lost time. So please bear with me. Last night I went and got some dinner at Art and Soul. Isn't this a lovely look? At Art and Soul, and I met a couple there. You guys know I love doing shout outs to people I meet while I travel. But I met a couple there, and please forgive me if I get your names wrong because I'm terrible with names. But I believe it was Mike and Teresa. Could have been Mark and Teresa, but I too am hard of hearing. They'll get that joke. But I met them while I was eating. They are from Arizona. Wonderful people, great conversation. But had very good food at Art and Soul. Now, it's just a block, really just go to the end of the block, end of the block, and then it's there. But the restaurant closes at 9, and the bar area stays open until 10. I got there at 8:50, so they were about to close the restaurant, and so they decided to seat me in the bar area. Now, they do have food in the bar area, but it is a more limited menu, and it's more bar food. I mean, at that point, I didn't care. I was very hungry. I got a burger and fries. The food was really good. Prices were, well, it's DC in the tourist area, so... But yeah, I came back to the Airbnb, or I guess I can say hotel because technically it's the hotel. Came back to the hotel, finished getting unpacked, took a shower, and went to bed. Now, let me tell you, in life, there are many pros and cons to things. And when you weigh the pros and cons, you just have to try and be as positive as possible. Which this morning I'm struggling with because I got like zero sleep. No sleep at all. This hotel is wonderful for location. Huge pro. Con, the hotel's location. It's right down the street from the fire station. So all night long, I got to listen to the fire trucks and the ambulances and the police cars. This morning, I got to listen to it while I was starting to get ready. But I tried to look on the positive. I do have my noise canceling earbuds that I usually carry with me when I stay in hostels. So tonight I will definitely be using those. The light does come in at the window, so I will be wearing an eye mask. I always try to be prepared for situations like this because I do know that it can happen. I mean, it's part of the gigantic luggage that I carry. So yeah, I did not sleep well at all. My knees are a little swollen this morning from sitting on the train for forever. Oh, and if you see me go out of the room, because this counter is so small, I pulled the little table right here next to the door so I can put all of my makeup and makeup utensils, if you will, just outside the door here. But yeah, my knees are a little swollen because I sat for 10 hours without barely moving on the train. Another shout out on the train. Oh God, my bangs this morning, seriously. On the train ended up getting completely filled. What is going on with my hair? It ended up getting completely filled and every single seat taken. And I got super lucky and got seated next to this guy, Brian. I might get this part wrong. I believe he is from Fayetteville, North Carolina. But he was coming up to DC, and we had great conversation. And when we got off the train out at Union Station here in DC, he was nice enough to kind of go with me to help me find my checked luggage. They don't do the checked luggage right off the train. They do it inside. I guess just to kind of keep the area next to the train clear so the train can move on. And then when we walked outside, he was waiting on his ride, which would be about 30 minutes. And he was like, you know what? I have time to kill. He said, if you want, I can walk you to your hotel to make sure you get there safe. Yes, ladies. Guys like that do exist. They are unicorns. So he was kind enough to walk me to my hotel, which obviously was not far, but we were able to continue our conversation. And then, of course, I got checked in. But huge shout out to Brian. Thank you for being so kind and having a wonderful conversation on the train where we could not get off of the train at all. We were both kind of upset about that. Where was I? So yeah, today I don't have anything officially planned. I kind of did it that way just in case my train was late, and I've kind of booked, not really booked, but I've kind of set up this trip to where I have like a day or two of nothing in particular planned, and then a day where stuff is booked, day where nothing is planned, day where stuff is actually booked, like tours are booked. So today, since I don't have anything planned, even though my knees are swollen, I'm gonna look on the positive. I'm going to walk a ton, and hopefully it will kind of help work out the fluid that's in my knees. I have terrible knees. But my plan is to get some breakfast and then go to the National Mall, particularly where the Washington Monument is, going west or the left, and hit up like the World War II Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, the Vietnam Memorial, all the memorials, the Lincoln Memorial, all the different memorials, and then try to make my way over to Arlington Cemetery and hopefully get to see the changing of the guard, and then come back. The reason why is because today is free, number one, because even though I am tired, I know that I have more energy than I will have toward the end of this trip when I have a couple more free days. And then also the weather, it's supposed to be like in the 40s, maybe 50s today. So it's a little cold, or cold compared to what I'm used to. And then it's sunny. So, you know, I want to take advantage of the fact that it's sunny and the fact that I will be outside the entire time. It did rain last night. I got lucky. It rained right after I got back to the hotel. And so today I'll just try walking all of that. By my understanding, going from my hotel to Arlington Cemetery is about 5 to 6 miles. And I will be walking all around the areas, the tidal basin. So I'll probably put 10, 12, 15 miles on today. We'll see. If I can, I'll try to route it and add it up, because I don't have like a stepper or watch or anything to track my steps. But yeah, so hopefully that is my plan for today. I would like to go up to the top of the Washington Monument. Don't know if that's going to be available. You have to buy tickets, but I don't know if they're going to be sold out, because again, I'm winging it today. I didn't plan ahead, but I am ready, as ready as I guess I will ever be, and I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Let's see where I can find breakfast at. So I'll see you guys soon.
When I left the hotel, I started making my way to the National Mall. And then I ran into a lot of barriers, construction stuff. Sorry, my cup, I'm carrying it. It's kind of in the way of this shot. But I got stuck where there was only one area that you could really cross, because the rock and roll half marathon was going on. And there were a few people there cheering people on. This is actually toward the end of the race, but there's also people waiting to try and cross, because otherwise you're going to have to go about a mile around. So I was cheering people on while I was standing there waiting for a good time to try and cross. And I was looking ahead and found my spot, and I went for it. After a little bit of a walk, I finally made it to the Washington Monument. And in case you're wondering, yes, that is toilet seats on the post on the right-hand side there. What this was an area set up to raise awareness for colorectal cancer. The blue flags on the ground were in memory of people who had lost their lives to colorectal cancer in the last year. And as you can see, it is hundreds, if not thousands, of people. So it is kind of nice to have an area set up to raise awareness and urge people to get colonoscopies to try and prevent colorectal cancer. When I got to the monument, unfortunately, all of the tickets that take you up to the top of the monument were already sold out for the day, so I didn't get to go to the top of the monument. But it was kind of nice to get right up to the monument and see how tall it actually is. It's amazing how big it is. It doesn't look that big in pictures, but it's actually quite tall in real life. When you leave the Washington Monument going west, or the left side of the Washington Monument, you can go down the National Mall, and the first thing you come across is the World War II Memorial. When I got there, there was a local high school band playing some music, so I stopped to listen to them. I'll share a little bit of what they played. When you walk around the backside of the World War II Memorial, you end up coming out onto the reflecting pool, which leads you up to the Lincoln Memorial. Now, since it is in springtime, early spring at that, They don't have water in the reflecting pool because of the possibility of it freezing. So you can actually walk in the reflecting pool. A lot of people were out walking, riding bicycles, and being there with their families. When you get to the Lincoln Memorial, just be aware there's a lot of steps. I mean, a lot of steps. In fact, a lot of the buildings in Washington, D.C. that you're going to want to visit when you're there have a lot of steps. Now, the buildings are set up where clearly if you have a wheelchair, you can make it up there. But if you are walking, just know that it is kind of far and there are a lot of steps along the way. But once you make it to the top where the white marble steps are at, there is no better view of Washington, D.C. than when you get to the top and you turn around. When you step inside, you get to see how massive the Lincoln Memorial actually is. There will always be a lot of tourists, and you're gonna have to wait your turn to try and take the perfect picture. But you can get good pictures here, and you will probably be asked to take someone else's picture, and you'll probably have to ask someone to take your picture as well. In the center is the statue of Abraham Lincoln. But if you go over to each one of the sides, there is more on the sides as well. Leaving the Lincoln Memorial, I walked out and went over to the left-hand side. That's the left-hand side of the reflecting pool. Here you'll find the Vietnam Memorial. Now, there are a lot of tourists in this area as well, and there is a chain fence to try and keep you on the pathway. So just know that if you are coming during peak tourist season, it might be a little crowded and take you a lot longer to get through this walkway. Now, I'm not going to show it, but if you can kind of tell at the end of the walkway on the right, there is a group there. This was a group of Vietnam veterans that were holding a memorial for someone they knew that had fought in the war. They had on patches, and there were some Marines there in uniform. Out of respect, I'm not going to show the actual memorial, but just know that things like this can happen when you come to these memorials. When I left the Vietnam Memorial, I walked back up to the Lincoln Memorial and went down to the right-hand side of the memorial. On this side, you have the Korean War Memorial. As you're walking up to it, you'll see the statues on the right of the soldiers as if they're walking through the fields in Korea. When you get to the top of the memorial, you'll have a wall that is a circular wall of all of the names of the soldiers that fought in the Korean War. This is not just the American soldiers that fought in the war, but all of the soldiers that fought in the war. This area can get quite crowded too with the tourists, so if you want to spend time here, all the memorials, it's better to actually go early in the morning and try to beat the crowds. Since I had visited all of the memorials in this immediate area, I wanted to start making my way over to Arlington Cemetery. It's about a mile from the Lincoln Memorial to Arlington Cemetery, and you do have to go across a bridge. The view is pretty from the bridge, and it's very safe. There's a very wide walkway that you can cross where bicyclists and people walking are at. Now, the changing of the guards at Arlington Cemetery happens at different times of the year. If you visit Arlington Cemetery from October 1st through March 31st, the changing of the guards happens every hour on the hour. So, for example, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, so on. If you visit Arlington Cemetery from April 1st through September 30th, it happens every half hour. So it would happen at noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30, and so on. Since I was here in mid-March, that means it would be top of the hour. As I was walking, I was making pretty good time. I have a very fast walking pace. But then I looked at my phone and realized I only had about 20 minutes to make it to the changing of the guard. Otherwise, I would have to sit in Arlington Cemetery and kill time for a whole other hour in order to see the changing of the guards again. So what did I do? I began to run. Now, this is a rather long video, and we are not even close to halfway through this day. So I have split this day into 2 separate videos, part 1 and part 2. If you want to find out when part 2 is going to come out, subscribe and you'll get notified. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the various memorials that you've seen so far, feel free to leave a comment below and I will try to get to those as soon as I can. And I look forward to seeing everyone in the next video where we find out, do I make it to the changing of the guards on time? Until then, bye!